as I was saying, uh, here's where you have to have experience in this area. A lot of the sellers, as I was referring to, a lot of these sellers, just like you, on whatever level you're on, if you're doing reselling right now and buying liquidation, boxes, pallets, or truckloads, uh, you're going to sell on whatever platform or whatever site you can, or and in whatever location you can to move that product. And these particular sellers here, they're all also uh, they use whatever platforms they can as well to move their product. And it's not necessarily that it's unfortunate, but it is unfortunate, or can be unfortunate, that many of these sellers that sell on these sites like Bstock and on liquidation.com, a lot of them also sell on other sites as well. I mean, they're on a certain level where they sell on bigger sites, but they also continue to make that money on smaller sites as well. And it's unfortunate for some that these particular people, they sell on Amazon and eBay. This particular order here that I canceled it because after you make the purchase and you win your auction and you win this particular lot, they shoot you the information to be able to contact the sellers and to be able to reach out to them for whatever might be going on. Y'all might have a dispute, or you might need some information concerning the shipping. They may need it, or something, whatever the reason. They divulge that information to. They give you that. Sometimes they give you the phone number as well. And you also have the option, before you even bid on the lot on this particular site, to be able to reach out to them by message and send a message. When I won this particular lot for the $400 and something, $440, I got their information, and immediately, because I had a little bit of experience under my belt by then. So what I done is I decided to reach out to them, and I didn't reach out to them. I actually Googled their name, and I Googled them and searched for them to see who they were, just to find out information about them. Once again, it goes back to that principle of the more you're informed, the better you're able to make decisions. And that's why it's good to see manifest of your product. And it's best to also, the more you're informed about the buyer, the better you are capable of knowing whether you want to deal with that buyer. And it's just like the more you're informed with the products, like when we search for the lenses and the Canons and the Nikons and things, the better you're able to make a decision about purchasing those items. So this particular purchase here, I purchased it, I won it, I bid on it, I won it. I knew I wanted it. It's 250 units. So I was like, I need to have it. It'd be good for me to sell, to retail at my flea market. Even on there, it'd be good for there, if nothing else. If I'm selling them for $20 or $25 a piece. So I had a potential to make a lot of money. When I researched this person, they had they came up on Google instantly. They in their Google, they also came up on eBay and Amazon. So I went on their site on eBay, just eBay, and I saw that they had sold none of these in the last month and a half. They hadn't sold any of these. Almost 2 months they had sold none of these. Maybe a month and a half. And so, but prior to then, and you see I purchased this in March the 4th, so they probably didn't sell any of these. They probably stopped selling these around January. Around January, they hadn't sold. Early January, I think they stopped selling these. If not, they really sold them in December, which was around Christmas time. So that was around the last time. They may have had a few sales for January, in the early week or so of January. And when I realized that they had sold from basically from like June all the way into December, they had sold over 1,000 of these. 1,000. they were making money off of these. They were selling them around $19.99 or $24.99, something around that price range. But I know for sure it's around 19 or anywhere between $20 and $24 or so, if I recall correctly. And so I was like, they just upped out of nowhere in January and in February and just stopped selling these altogether. So I put it together. I said, okay, they listed them. It just takes experience. And like I said, I'm tying it in because I also shop with people that are local. And then, as I said also in previous videos, I also shop with people who are I go also to other cities to make purchases. I mean, I go to Ohio, or I go wherever I can go to kind of network and interact with other sellers that inspire me and that I aspire to be like. And so I knew from personal experience that a lot of these sellers that I have purchased from, when I have been to their warehouses and I've seen their inventory and I've talked with some of them and some of their workers that are there and get a little information from them, I have learned that a lot of these sellers, and I'm gonna probably wrap this up right here. So I'm gonna switch the camera around and just kind of talk with you face to face. You don't have to stare at the screen. So let me just go ahead and do that. And because I'm gonna close this. I know I've been lengthy, so let me just pause this for a second and get situated. I apologize there for a second. So as I was saying, a lot of the sellers, they do. It's important to be able to get this bright light out your face. I think that's important. Turn this light off too. Apologize about that as well. And so a lot of these sellers, they actually, just like me and you, a lot of these sellers have other platforms and other avenues by which they can, move their inventory and sell their goods. This particular seller here, like I said, I learned that, he had been selling these items on eBay. Now, here's the math here. As a seller myself, I know that, when you put out inventory, it's just a natural course that some of that stuff's going to come back. You're going to get returns, and I hate returns. I hate customer returns. I'm talking about, and it seems like during this COVID time where a lot of people are exclusively shopping online, a lot of stores close, or you have more of the bigger companies also purchasing things from Bstock or Liquidation.com. People that sell on there might even be purchasing, of course, things on there. They might feel like, I need that. I can accumulate those things and sell them for a little higher when I'm, so that I don't lose inventory. So nobody is excluded, or nobody's exceptional. Nobody's probably too small or too big to necessarily purchase from some of these sites. It could be people anywhere that feel like that's just something they need in the inventory, and they're in it to make money too. So like I said, when you're a seller on Amazon or eBay, and I do eBay, you get returns. And like I said, I hate them. I mean, I hate waking up in the morning and looking at my phone or my computer and seeing all those dark black bold words going across, and then you see something that says return requested. You're like, ugh. And sometimes it's scams, and then sometimes it's not. And no matter what, you're going to have that. I've had people do the, we've sold Xbox controllers, and somebody decided they wanted to, Xbox Elite controllers, and somebody decided they want to give you their old controller, and get the one you sent them, send you back the old one, and then get their money back as well. That's like getting double whammy. I've come up with a better solution now. Like when I sell things like when I sell some things like uh, any items, pretty much any items. When I sell items, I think one of the things I do now, some of the items that I sell, what I might do is I'll put I'll give them their own personal message and basically email or just message on eBay, and I'll give them a personal, because if I'm selling a stock item, like I have multiple items and every item is not listed individually. Well, I want to be able to capture the serial numbers on some items, or I want to be able to better prepare myself, if just for the potential in case that is fraudulent. The buyers, he doesn't have that many ratings or feedbacks or things like that. So I want to just kind of like safeguard my own business, my own self, and not mess around and just be somebody purchasing something from me where they can send me back something that's fake. We've sold AirPods and people send back you send them an AirPod, they send you back something that's not even AirPod, it's some generic something. So that happens too, and you just try to learn how to not let that happen. So I've learned to just send customers their own personal, on eBay, their own message with their personal pictures of the product that we're shipping to them, and with the serial numbers. So if there's a request for return, if so be, then we ask them to would they mind please sending us the pictures of the items numbers, the serial numbers that they intend to that they received, that they intend to send back, so that when we get that package back, we videotape it, from the onstart of it coming back, if possibly from the hands of the mailman or whatever, and then we compare right in the video the actual item, and the specificities, the specific things, identification markers, that the variances that are in the product we sent them from the one they sent us back, just to try to avoid any swapping out or any fraudulent behavior, because it's on the rise. But the point I was making was this here, is that as a seller, you're going to get returns. You're just going to get that. That's another. It shouldn't happen often. And there's some people, they can sell 2,000 items and not get negative feedback. They probably still get returns though. But I hate negative feedbacks. I hate returns. But unfortunately, that's a part of the business. And a lot of times it can help you also be a better seller too. One of the things I've learned is I just basically I'm going to do my part to protect, my investment. And I got some tricks I can do too. And I try to also, we'll get into that in another video though. We'll get into that in another video. But like I said, you're going to get returns. You're going to get people that's trying to scam. You're going to get legitimate returns as well. You're going to get people that, you overlook something. You didn't inspect something carefully enough. And those customers, they're going to know about it, and sometimes you're going to get customers that may know a little bit more about the item than you do. They may inspect it a little bit thoroughly than you do. My point that I'm making is that the particular seller that I had to cancel the order on, having sold 1,000 of those Soundmates, I felt it was not in my best interest, and I couldn't proceed with a good conscience to accept those items, because he had sold 1,000 of those, and at the same time, of course, he tested them because he had to send them out as working condition, right? He was sending them out as pre-owned or used. I think he was using pre-owned, working, fully functional. So they went through his testing process, and of course he's going to get some back. It just is a matter of recourse. Now, he not only had returns that came back from the ones he sold on eBay, but when he initially got the entire lot, the 1,500 or so of those that he had some off the back, some that were right offhand that were not functioning properly, because they probably was not brand new at all. So the point I'm making is this here, is I don't want to fall victim to this particular seller's scheme or his way of doing things, his deceitful practice, because he listed the items as customer returns. And indeed, they were customer returns. Indeed, they were, but it wasn't ethical because it wasn't genuine customer returns that he did not uh, uh, inspect and go through. These were products that, from my knowledge, these were products, from my experience, these were products that he had previously sold on eBay or whatever sites he was, Amazon and whatever other sites he were on. And once he had ran out of his working condition, fully functional inventory of those cellmates. Once he ran out of those, he's selling them, and he was only left with the customer return ones. Well, what are you going to do with 250, 300? And he probably has some he couldn't probably put in that a lot. But what are you going to do with those 250 uh, cellmates? Now you're going to just throw them in the trash? No, no, that ain't what you do, because it's a potential that there's a few of them there that you can mix and match. You can mix and match some of them. So just take that whole lot that's left and put them on B stock and sell them as customer returns. They're customer returns, but they're not the type of customer returns that any experienced buyer wants to really buy, because they're your customer returns that you've already had returned back to you personally. They're not the customer returns that came from the big box companies. It came from individual sales. And so I couldn't proceed with a good conscience, and I just couldn't do it. And I sent that information to B Stock, and they said, in light of the information you shared with us, we have decided to cancel that order, and we'll let the buyer know. So they was in full agreement with me. It just made total sense. And as I said, it not only was that, but as I said, as I also go locally, I've also went abroad and I purchased pallets. And I've also like I said, I've networked and I've talked with a lot of the bigger, the company people that are bigger than myself. And, I'm not a big person or anything. I'm really I make it full time. I make a living, but I'm by no means, one of those persons that that's driving a Porsche or any of those type of things. I'm not making, I'm not a million. I'm not by far any close to making $1 million out of this. I will though one day. But the point I'm making is this: is that I shop, and there's one person that's like a mentor to me. I learn a lot from his business. And I go to his warehouse prior to the lockdown and COVID and things like that. I used to go to his warehouse probably at least every other month, if not every month, multiple times. And I will learn. I will learn from him. Of course, like I said, neither would he nor any other of the places I've been. They're not gonna give you insight on where they're getting their product from. It's just unwise. They won't do it because you'll take that same money that you could be spending with them, and you'll take that same money and bid against them, or you go buy the auctions and the products that they were previously selling to you. So it's not wise to disclose. It's really not wise to disclose your source. And I know that everybody's not cut out to, they're not cut out to be resellers and on certain sites like Amazon and eBay, or other ones, Macari and Facebook, because you gotta have that customer service skills. You gotta have it's your disposition altogether. You gotta have the fortitude, the mentality. You have to have that courtesy type of behavior. You really got have a lot of things going. You gotta be intuitive, and you really do have to be kind of cut out to deal with people when it comes to the complexities, and even dealing with companies like Amazon and eBay, who are charging you sometimes whatever they feel like they want to charge you every month for your using their services. So, but that's no justification. Just because everybody can't handle being a reseller, that doesn't mean you go sharing your source with everybody. That's just a normal thing. That's like Samsung saying they're gonna share with Apple what they're using in their product or what they're coming up with next. That's not business savvy there. It's not business etiquettes, proper etiquettes. It's just, it ain't beneficial. But the point I want to make is, um, that's why it's important, if you're going to get involved with this, it's important to kind of learn from the different and various people and companies or business people or entrepreneurs or whatever, you know, YouTubers uh, that are doing this. And I'm talking about those who are really trying to share real information, not those just worried about, Google or YouTube cutting them a check every so often or whatever. I'm talking about those who are really trying to help somebody uh, discreetly. Like I said, me having dealt with, some of the other people locally who have warehouses, uh, I know because I met them on some of these sites, and so I know just by with them, I know that they take a lot of things, the good and bad, and they also sell those things on the things that are not moving, that they can't, that I don't want. I'm like, I don't want it, and or they can't move it, or it's just sitting forever, literally. Then they'll take those things, and some of them are legitimate customer returns, and then some of that stuff is like, hey, it's a lot of product, and it's it requires somebody who has skills in that area to be able to repair that stuff, or it's going to be a hit and miss on that type of stuff. So um, that's one of the things that a lot of the sellers won't tell you, is that a lot of these sellers on some of these liquidation sites, it doesn't matter if it's any online uh, place. As Amazon, Amazon resells their own stuff too. They sell products too. Uh, uh, so you're competing against the company as well. So these companies and these sellers on B Stock, they sell on eBay, they sell on Amazon, they sell on Mercari, they sell on all sites you probably haven't even heard of, because they have that much inventory. Wherever they feel like, you know, they can move their products, the more the merrier, the more they can grow. And like I said, it's about growing. And so you have companies that are like B Stock, or, bulk.com, or 888 lots. You have so many liquidation sites that have like basically popped up, Jack in the Box style, just popped out of nowhere. And now, but they started somewhere. They started from somewhere. And the point I'm making is that a lot of these companies you see here on B Stock or Liquidation.com, they started somewhere too. But even when they reached a certain height, they haven't, lost their branches. They're still reaching out and spreading their branches out to sell on whatever sites that they still can. And the unfortunate side is those that are not really, scrupulous. Those are the ones that are not really ethical, or just real. Those are the ones that you're going to see that's trying to pass off customer returns on these sites as legitimate customer returns that have not been inspected or cherry picked and all that type of stuff. And that's not the case, unfortunately. So to avoid that, that's why, as I said, as I learn, I'm picky about who I purchase from, and I don't just get customer returns from anybody on any site. I'm particular about where I get my goods from, because I don't have money to lose. If I'm going to spend $5,000 for a pallet or several pallets, then I'm honestly expecting. I mean, getting my 5,000 back is that's a gimme. But my hope is that I'll make, 10, 15, $20,000. I mean, that's just, I'm not just looking, like that. And I don't really purchase anymore. I don't really purchase anymore the $200-$300 lots anymore, or boxes anymore, because I mean, I will if something's great, like the one we just looked at with the cameras. I might look into that. Honestly, that's some good stuff in there. And that's a good reputable seller. So a lot of things line up, and like I said, you have to have a standard and a guideline in your head, and I hope that I'll pour something in you that will help you kind of like, critique or something that will kind of like, you know, fine tune your guideline for searching for product. Uh, so you can't purchase from anybody. You have to be informed. Which, when I say you have to be informed, the better you're informed you are, the better you can make a decision. The better you can, the more you can be, the better chance you got to be successful. That was point number 3. And when I say about the better you're informed, is I'm talking about the manifest. Let them show you the manifest. Let them show you the manifest rather than you having to hope or wonder what's in there as if it's Christmas time and it's a present under the tree. So, yeah, clock's still ticking. It's time for me to wrap this up. So, what I'm saying is, so those are some guidelines you want to use. Now, how do you avoid being skeptical and apprehensive about purchasing customer returns? Nothing really. Just look at the seller. Is he a reputable seller? And don't get me wrong, even reputable sellers can sometimes put something out there that's bad. Like I said, you're still, like I said, even today, even to this day, in the last 2 months, I've had a total of I had one pallet that I ordered. Was that one pallet? I had one pallet, had about 500-600 pieces in it, and it was a general merchandise. It had a little everything. It had clothing, food, it had tools, it had books, it had games, it had electronics, but it also, my main